is a very, very important lecture, and it's going to be viewed by many, many, many people. And so the question and answer session will also be of great interest to them. Since we have only one microphone, I want you to come close to me when you ask your question so I can repeat the question, so that those viewing this video in Pakistan, in India, in Bangladesh will be able to know what the question was. But in addition to that, I would like you to give your comments as well, so people can hear what you've said in other parts of the world, okay? This is going to be viewed by many, many people, because this subject is very critically important at this time. So not only questions, but also comments, but because it's already so late, try and make them brief. First question? Yes. Come close.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
I listened to your lecture on YouTube. I'm very impressed with it. So, just a question that when you said Sunnah Nasai that the Hind will be conquered by Muslims. So, according to you, it's not the Mughal Empire. I wonder who's the Muslim ruler that's going to rule India.
The question is that the Hadith speaks about Muslims conquering India. And I dismiss the view held by some that this prophecy or this alleged prophecy was fulfilled at the time of the Mughal rule over India for many centuries. So he's asking me, which people is the Hadith referring to? The Hadith, in the second Hadith says that the conquest of India will take place at the time when Nabi Isa alayhi salam will be here. And this is why I put the title of the lecture as Ghazwatul-Hind and Akhiru Zaman. But the Hadith says that when the Muslims conquer India, they will take the kings of India and drag them in chains and take them to Jerusalem, O kama qal. Not only does India no longer have any kings, it's gone, and it's gone forever. And now India is one state, and it is not ruled by kings anymore. So obviously, there is a contradiction in this hadith about the time when kings were ruling over India and when Nabi Isa alayhi salam is to be returned, to come back. I consider this to be part of the evidence that this is a fabricated hadith. Any more questions? Yeah. I want your comments as well. Huh? Then you come and use my microphone and make the comment. Yeah.
Over the past few months, we have seen the attacks beginning from the attack in Christchurch.
If I am here and you are there and I can't hear you, my hearing is bad. Come closer.
Yeah, my question is that since the attack in New Zealand in Christchurch, a series of attacks have happened across the world, especially in synagogues and churches, and then the recent most in Sri Lanka as well. It's a very clearly a pattern which is targeting the Christians and the Jews and Muslims. I would like to hear your thoughts on it. What are we expecting? Is that this is a pattern we never saw before?
The question is that there appears to be a pattern in the attack, the terrorist attack on the masajid in New Zealand, and again repeated in the terrorist attacks on Christians in Sri Lanka. And what is my comment on this subject? I hold the view that there was a mastermind at work behind the New Zealand attack, and that mastermind was hoping that there would have been hundreds who would have been killed, and as a consequence of the manifesto which was conveniently published just before the attack, which mentioned Hagia Sophia, that they hoped that the attack in New Zealand would have brought millions onto the streets of Turkey and given the Turkish government an excuse to reopen Hagia Sophia as a masjid. But they planned their plans and it did not work out. And the government of Turkey is still fishing for an excuse that could allow them to reopen Hagia Sophia as a masjid and not cause Russia to break diplomatic ties with them. Secondly, I believe that the same mastermind who was at work in planning the New Zealand attack is the same mastermind who sent these monkeys. They're not shuhada, they're monkeys to do what they did in Sri Lanka. They have only peanuts in their head, like all the others who went to wage their bogus jihad in Syria. They got only peanuts in their head. And they don't have shuyukh, they don't have scholars with knowledge who can guide them. So the same mastermind was at work in Sri Lanka, and the plan is to try with these terrorist attacks to sabotage reconciliation, friendship and alliance between the world of Islam that follows Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, not those who have a Qibla in Washington, and the world of Christianity which Allah recognizes, not you, but Allah recognizes to be following Nabi Isa alayhi salam. These two worlds of Islam and Christianity must not be allowed to reconcile and to establish friendship and alliance, because that will seal the fate of Israel. That's my view of the subject. Any comments as yet? Nobody wants to comment? Yes. Bismillah.
Yeah.
Bismillah.
See, the last Khalifa is from descendant of the uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Abbas. And this happens when the Mughals invaded Baghdad and destroyed Baghdad and massacre the Khalifa and his family, and then invade completely all the Islamic territory. And at that point, the Egyptians start to fight those peoples in Palestine and then defeat them in one battles. From there, just start chasing them. See, when the Khilafah weakens, they came attack from two sides. From Mughal, those are Isios, they came from top of Mongolia, up China, and they took all Indians, Persians, Irans, Middle East, and then they move up to Europe until Gaugas, Moscow, and all this part of Europe also. And also we're facing attack from the Christians. They want to take the Palestinians, and already taken the Palestinians. And then Salahuddin Ayyubi start for them and defeat them. Anyhow, the Osman empires, those are nomad peoples, nomad family, and start supporting the warriors, very tough. They're not religion peoples. The Arab peoples are knowledgeable and religious, but those are nomad peoples. They join the Islams and start to become warriors and support Salahuddin Ayyubi family to fight the Mughal. And the Khalifa of Ayyubians, he was last Khalifa because he hasn't got children, so he passed this to the Uthmanians, to those people, because they are warriors and so on, and they are top generals. And then those people, they took over and start fight back the Mongolians and also the Christians, and they pushed them back until they opened the Constantines, now is the Turkey, and then they move up to the Moscow and all these, the Gogas areas. And what happens, see the Europeans, is they are barbaric peoples before the Christians. And
Respond this one, please. It's too long now.
Yeah, just. What I want to mention is about, he mentions he went, the Sheikh, he says that he went to Moscow and he made because in Moscow there is the Orthodox church there. Those are Orthodox. And here in Vatican there is Catholics. And in England there is such kind of called Protestants. It's just in England. See, those Christians religions, they are not part of power in a state because the state is being separated from the religions and running by corrupted monarchies. So when the Muslims, when the Osman fight those peoples, the Westerns, they fought the corrupted monarchies. They are not Orthodox, they are not Catholics.
Okay, thanks very much.
See,
Can you respond, please? What is your question?
see my question is that, my question is that, yeah, okay. My question is that, he said he went to Moscow and he went to Bulgaria and he spoke to those priests and he says that the Osmanian empires, they did such kind of they have to not the jihad they did and the evil they did. That is what's wrong. It's not right. It's not right. Yeah, it's not right. Suppose just wait. Brother, just wait. Suppose when you are the question briefly the questions خلاص. Please let me finish. Don't make argument. Let me finish. I give you a point. I give my point. My point is that. Let me finish, guys. My point is that. Okay.
It's not a lecture time, you see.
Brother, let me finish. Don't speak. Let me finish. Yeah. See, when you listen to such kind of part, you have to listen to the other part. You went to Moscow and you went to Bulgaria. Why you not go to the Turkey to listen to them?
Right. Okay.
Why they went there and did this and that is simple.
Yeah. Okay, our brother here obviously differs with me. I made comments on the Ottoman Empire. I said that the Ottoman Empire violated the Quran. And if you are to say I am wrong, you must go to the Quran. That's what you have to do, not invite me to visit Turkey. Go to the Quran and show that I'm wrong. Are there any more comments or any questions? Yes, Bismillah. Question or comment?
Question.
Question, good.
A lot of the masajids are being taken over by this organization called Tablighi Jamaat. What is happening now, there's a conflict between the people running the mosque and the Tablighi Jamaat taking over the masajid. I went to a conflict where I had to deal with the conflict. Now, how do you deal with these people? Because they only allow their own tabligh to do whatever they wish.
Yeah.
And they,
You have thousands of people in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh and so on who are going to be paying attention to this lecture. So they don't want me to be responding about Tabligh Jamaat and what they're doing. So kindly either pose a question pertaining to the subject, or better than that, offer a comment on the subject. Yes.
You talk about the reconciliation between the Hindus and Muslims.
One second. You saying something?
No, he's just telling them something.
Oh, well, please be soft. Yeah, be soft. Allow him to speak. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you talk about the reconciliation. Of course, we should reconcile all the religions. We should
No. No. You misunderstood me. I quoted, the question is, that did I speak about reconciliation between Muslims and Hindus? No. I said that Allah has said in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. That if we are to formulate a policy towards Hind, the Hindu world, the proper way to do it is to begin by changing our own condition, following Allah's guidance, and then He can help us. And if we are to do that, what should we do? Answer, you have to first of all recognize that this bogus Mughal jihad on the Hindu world was just as bogus as the Ottoman jihad on the Christians. If I'm wrong, come and prove me I'm wrong. I'm saying it plain and clear daylight that the Ottomans waged a bogus jihad on the Christian world to sabotage what Allah has said in the Quran. That in the end time there will be a Christian people. Are you listening to the Quran? That in the end time there will be a Christian people. Is Nigeria listening? Is northern Nigeria listening to me? That in the end time there will be a Christian people. A people who will proudly proclaim that they are Christians, who will be closest in love and affection for Muslims. I have spent my life in scholarship. I'm not coming here as a schoolboy. If you want to differ with me, I am happy to hear your difference, but you must come in a scholarly way. And a scholarly way is to go first of all to the book of Quran, the book of Allah. So if you say to the Hindu people that Muslim rule over India was not in conformity with the Quran, it was not a valid jihad. It was a bogus jihad. And we apologize to you for Muslim rule over India. And number two, we don't need proof from you that Brown was born in Babri. Once this is in your religious consciousness, that's all it's got for us. We will voluntarily give up any claim to Babri and move elsewhere out of respect for your religious consciousness. If you do that, the government of Hind, the warmongering government of India today, which is in strategic alliance with Israel, would not know what to do. No, they would be at wit's end. They don't know what to do. Because you have launched an initiative that's going to transform your strategic environment, which is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This is scholarship. Any other questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I have a question regarding the future of relations between the various religious groups in India as a whole in the future concerning the world which may be after the Great War. Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus all have their own political models. Should we take example during the lifetime of Muhammad ﷺ, how he related to people from other religious callings, the Jews, that although they were separate religious peoples, they still had...
Wait. I think you better use this.
Okay.
It's very important, yeah.
Should I begin again? Okay.
Let me close to your mouth.
Okay, sure. My question is concerning relations between the various religious groups in India as a greater territory in the future, although we can learn from the past. After the Malhama, after the Great War, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs in particular have their own political models. Although people can try to do gymnastics and how they want to relate to each other and things like that, if we look at the life of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and his example, when he went to Yathrib, also known as Medina, he drew an agreement with the Jews who were living there, which would enable them to respect each other, to be able to live as their own communities with their own religious laws, but also to coexist peacefully. Can we share the same markets, or can Hindus and Sikhs govern themselves and Muslims govern themselves after the war? Is this something we should look to?
I have a very pessimistic view. Yes. I don't see any hope. The only way I can see hope is if the ulama, the scholars of Islam, emerge to guide the people. And I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing them with boxing gloves fighting each other. Deobandi, Brelvi, Shia, Sunni, Sufi, Salafi boxing glove going on. So what I'm expecting is that yes, India is going to launch a war on Pakistan. I'm certain of that. And they'll do it on behalf of Israel. And when they launch the war on Pakistan, their objective is to denuclearize Pakistan. So Pakistan will not have a deterrent capacity, military capacity. And if Pakistan does not have that, no Muslims will have it, none. And having denuclearized Pakistan, it doesn't matter to them if millions of Hindus have to die in nuclear war, it doesn't matter to them. They will then break up Pakistan into bits and pieces. On that day when the attack on Pakistan takes place, Pakistan will then turn to China, hoping, or rather dreaming that China will intervene militarily. But China will not, unless Russia does. Let me repeat that, so Islamabad will hear me. China will not intervene militarily in Pakistan unless Russia also does it. Because China is not going to take on NATO by itself. No. But if Russia agrees to intervene, then China is there with Russia. Will Russia intervene? No. The Russians are not fools. The Russians can distinguish between, let me not say this, all right, let me keep this out. The Russians are not fools. The Russians are not fools. Russia is conducting the best foreign policy in the world today. Russia is conducting the best diplomacy in the world today. There's first-class diplomacy. Nothing in the world could compare with Russian foreign policy and Russian diplomacy. And Russia is not convinced that they can trust Pakistan. Russia is not convinced that they can trust Pakistan. No. When even the CIA, which always tells lies, like Shaitan, but one day tells the truth, like Shaitan. The Prophet said, he's Shaitan, but today he's speaking the truth. That's what the Prophet said. And the CIA said, it's Muhammad bin Salman, he ordered the killing. CIA said that. And yet, the government of Pakistan, just for money, that's all, money. That's where the Ummah is today, for money. Decides to take morality and spirituality and fidelity to truth and to justice and throw it down to the window. And invite Muhammad bin Salman to a red carpet treatment. Welcome to Pakistan. And no Pakistani stood up and protested. There were no protests in Pakistan, none. If there were, please correct me. Russia saw that. So Russia knows what's the character of the Pakistani leadership today, the character. And Russia will not intervene, no, to save Pakistan, no. And if Russia does not intervene, you can tell Imran Khan for me, China will not intervene. And if China and Russia do not intervene, Pakistan's goose is cooked. Next question.
When India wage the war to the Pakistan, then will it be a jihad from Pakistan side? And what's the status of the Muslims living in the India, whom they will support, India or Pakistan?
I have to repeat the question again because this is very important. There are thousands of people who are going to be listening, okay? The question is, when India attacks Pakistan, will it result in a jihad, meaning a valid jihad, and who will wage a jihad? Yes, I agree with you that after the attack on Pakistan takes place, and it is broken up tukra into bits and pieces, at that time the secularized elite, which led the All India Muslim League after the Khilafat movement had been destroyed, that secularized Muslim elite, secularized intelligentsia, will no longer have any credentials to rule over the people. Now, and then after that, I believe, yes, a valid jihad will emerge from these bits and pieces. But that valid jihad will go back to the Khilafat movement, not to the All India Muslim League. Go back to the Khilafat movement to see what can we do to try to restore a valid model of a state acceptable to Allah. And it is not that Allah has sent this ummah with a mission to rule the world. The Quran does not say that. If you are saying that, remember, that's not in the Quran. That you have to wage jihad until you rule the world. That's nonsense. What does the Quran say? Who will rule the world? When Nabi Isa alayhi salam was to be crucified, a conversation took place between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Private conversation, and it's in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, Ya Isa, and he's listening, eh? Oh Jesus, Inni mutawaffik, I'm going to take your soul. I'm going to take your soul. Inni mutawaffik. Wa rafi'uka ilayya, and I'm going to raise you unto myself. And because the people had said that he was a bastard, his mother was not married and so on, and they hurled this abuse on his mother, وَمُطَهِّرُكَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, and I'm going to cleanse you of this kufr that they had hurled upon you. Who are they? They are the people who rejected him as the Messiah. And they are the ones who today control NATO. That's right. They control NATO. وَجَعِلُ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوكَ, and then I'm going to cause those who follow you. We don't follow him. No. We follow Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. We don't follow him. We follow Nabi Muhammad alayhi salam. So Allah is saying, I'm going to cause those who follow you, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. وَجَعِلُ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوكَ فَوْقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. I'm going to raise you who follow Nabi Isa alayhi salam, raise them above and dominant over this group which committed kufr against you, which is NATO, which is Israel, which is the dominant force in the world today. I'm going to raise you above them, dominant over them. وَجَعِلُ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوكَ فَوْقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. And when I raise these Christians to that position of dominance in the world, they will remain in that position of dominance until the end of the world. There you are. This business about the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam ruling the world is dismissed as nonsense. That's the importance of being faithful to the Quran. Any more questions? Last question. It's now almost 11. Last question? Yeah. Question or comment?
In the context of the Babri Masjid,
Yeah.
it is actually a fabricated one that they said
Come,
Ram was
come,
born.
come. Let the whole of India hear you.
Okay.
Sit down there, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the context of the Babri Masjid,
Yeah,
it is a fabricated one.
yeah.
They said the Ram was born there.
The Hindus say that.
The Hindus say that.
Yeah.
And it's not only the Babri Masjid they want. They got a list of masajids, one after another.
Yes, I know that.
So they are not able to prove that the Ram was born there.
Right.
Even the court is in a dilemma what to do. They are having all sort of people to come in, have a negotiation. And the main aim is they're asking the Muslim to hand over the Babri Masjid to the Mandir.
Good.
What would you suggest, or what is your opinion, that a masajid can be given for idol worship?
I don't want to have to repeat my whole lecture.
But they've got a big list of masajids to be given.
No,
to
I'm not
them.
concerned about the list. I'm concerned about doing what is right. I have already explained my views on this subject, and you're inviting me to repeat what I've already said. Yes? There's nothing more to say. This is my view, and you don't have to accept my view. Remember that. Unless you're convinced that I'm correct. If this is not acceptable to you, you can continue fighting with the Hindus over Babri. Okay, and you can continue with your drum beating of Ghazwatul-Hind, and then see what's going to be the end result. Wait and see. Okay? Yeah. Now, it's already almost 11 o'clock. Shall we take one more? Where's the Imam? Okay, one more, but that's the end, okay? Yeah.
Normally we see that the Zionism very well integrates into certain parts of, they call them Christians. So, but now we are very clearly seeing that Zionism also integrates with Hinduism. And in Pakistan there is a commonly used term called Hindu Zionists. Why is this something which is not widely recognized, that the riba and the business of riba is historically being a part of the Hindu society for a long time, as same as it was in the part of Jews?
You have asked a question. You want to know why is it that we do not recognize that the whole Hindu world today, that's what you said, the whole Hindu world today, all the Hindus are Zionists, all of them. And all the Hindus are in alliance with Israel, and they're all in alliance because of also their attachment to riba. And why don't we recognize it? I don't recognize. I do not recognize that the entire Hindu world is like the Jewish world today. I spent a long time in this lecture trying to impress upon you that the Hindu world cannot be described as the same as the Jewish world and the Western world. This is hostile to us, the Jewish world and the Western world. But I gave you ample evidence that this was not true of the Hindu world. Should I repeat the lecture? And you were sitting right in front of me. I gave you this spectacular example that just yesterday, when the British were leaving, the Hindus were united behind a leader. And it was not secularized Hinduism. It was a genuine Hindu leader who believed in Hinduism, who lived as a Hindu. And he led them. Undisputed leader. They even give him the name Mahatma Gandhi. He was their leader, not ours. And it was he who reached out to the Muslims for an alliance. Is that evidence of hatred and enmity and hostility and alliance with Jews? It's not. It's not. And therefore, if you follow a sensible, intelligent policy based on the guidance which is in the Quran, you can bring about change in the public consciousness in India. And there will be large numbers of Hindus who will now begin to say, but this is a new face of Islam we are seeing. We never saw this face of Islam before. I just heard that from the Christians in Birmingham yesterday. The 4 monks. They said, this is a new face of Islam we're seeing from you. We didn't see it from the others. And they responded to me with respect and affection. That's how they treated me yesterday. That's how I was treated in Belgrade. That's how I was treating in Moscow. And I am not in any way to apologize to you for my going to Moscow or going to Belgrade. I am doing what a scholar should be doing. To say to the Orthodox Christians to call a spade a spade. If no one did it for 600 years, we should still do it. Okay? If you do that with India, follow an intelligent policy, you can bring about a change in the strategic environment which the Indian government would not like at all. We've had a very interesting event today, and we have some good question and answer session, and I want to thank you, and I thank the masjid for the invitation. Tomorrow night we'll be where?
Gatton Road Masjid.
Gat Road?
Gatton
Gatton Masjid?
Road Masjid, Tooting.
Gatton Tooting Masjid, and the topic is?
Ramadan.
Ramadan and the Quran. You know where's Tooting?
Yeah.
Tooting Masjid, and it is at Maghrib?
After Maghrib.
After Maghrib Salat, Ramadan and the Quran, and then on Thursday night is another lecture, and Friday another lecture. Thank you.